Hi everyone, well we're just about to get into the install video on my new electrical system, but I have some exciting news. I was talking to the guys at LiTime. As you know, LiTime are sponsoring this build. They've helped me out with a fantastic battery, 230 amp hours, and what they've done is they've also given me an extra bit of a discount. So we now have 8%. So SAW 8, I'll put it up on the top of the screen there so you know what it is. And I'll also leave a link in the description so that you can get on there and pick up some great bargains from LiTime. Absolutely amazing company. Thank you very much. So without further ado, let's cut back to me and we'll tell you all about this new electrical build. Cheers everyone. Hi everyone, well welcome to my video on the start of the build for my electrical system. Not sure how long this is going to take, and I don't know whether I'll be able to show you every single thing that I'm going to have to do, but as you know, built this system here for the back of the FJ, and it's done exactly what I wanted it to do. It's over 2 years old now and it has been performing flawlessly. Phil Damiano from Phil's Camping Reviews helped me build this. I bought all the components. I went up to his place and we built it over about a 3-day weekend. And it's been, like I said, been going flawlessly. I haven't had 1 ounce of trouble with it. Now, it was built specifically for a certain spot in the back of the FJ. That's why it's the shape it is. When I do the new build on the Ranger, all these components are going to get taken off, the box is going to go, and most of the components are going to be mounted flat on a board. The only difference is the battery will be in a different case. The battery is underneath this little thing at the back here. What I'll do is I'll grab the camera, we'll move a couple of things out of the road, and I'll quickly go through what we've got here. So like I said, when I built this particular box here, it was this wide here for a reason. So how wide is it? So everyone knows. It's 430 millimeters wide. It is 620 millimeters high. And it is about 700 long. So it's under a metre long. It's only half a metre wide, and most of the front part here is not really needed. I put this in because I just wanted a storage box in there. So basically I could have got away with this whole system only being about 280 millimeters wide. That's why when I put it in the Ranger, I've got about 200 millimeters in the front, but it's about 1100 wide. So the widest part that I'm going to have on there is going to be this, which is 200 millimeters. So it's not going to take up more than 200 millimeters in the front of the Ranger. And I'll have plenty of room to fit all these components up against the headboard. They'll just be mounted different. So I had a few people when I put the photo up saying, how are you going to fit that in the Ranger? It's going to take up half the tray. No, it's not. It's not even going to take up a quarter of the tray. It's going to take up 200 millimeters. And that's bugger all, guys, because all these components will all come this way, be mounted flat on a board, and it will only be that wide. So all I've got to do now is pull all this apart and get all the components set out. I've got my board over here. So I went out to Bunnings, bought my board, bit of marine ply, bought me a bit of carpet. It won't be that high obviously because that's the biggest board, smallest board I could find. It's probably only going to be about this high. And I've got to take all these components off. So what I'll do is I'm going to have to mark where a lot of the cords go. I'll probably have to buy some new wiring to extend some of the cords, like especially the heavy duty cords coming from the Renogy inverter charger, because I want to be able take up to 200 amps maximum out of that battery there, which I can. The LiTime battery is capable of discharging up to 200 amps at a time if needed, and I may want to do that. I may want to run an induction cooker, I may want to run, who knows, Annie may want to run a hairdryer. And this has got the capability also to charge up to 65, 70 amps. So I've got my 240 there. It's all wired up. It's only a matter of pulling a few screws out and then remounting it on the new build. So here we go. I've charged up my other battery that's in here this morning. It was after my video I showed you on how to charge the Jackery up, if you've watched that one. This was down to about 60%. So this morning I plugged it in, charged it up. So got my kill switch up here, flicker off, and you will see that display go out in a second because it will lose all power. So it takes a few minutes for it to go down, but there you go. It has cut all power to the unit. So I can start pulling this apart. So my next job is to pull this apart. Well, actually my first job is I'm going to cut this board out roughly to the size I need to fit into the front of the Ranger, and then I can set it up on a bench, take all these components off one by one, set it out on it, have them set out how I want to run it in the Ranger, and then put the carpet on and get it all mounted, wire it all up and put it in the Ranger and flick the switch back on again, and we should be able to then have fantastic 12 volt 240 volt power whenever needed to complement the van, and also charge up anything else we need, run 240 volt appliances. So I can run an extension cord from this to the caravan into the caravan port and power the caravan from this 2000 watt inverter. So it's going to be great. That's why I haven't really worried about upgrading the battery in the caravan. It does everything we want it to do, but having the capability of 230 amp hours of lithium battery is going to make our off-grid camping a whole lot better. So stay tuned, guys. Let's get into it. Let's get this build happening. I'm going to get this bit of wood out and start cutting out for the back of the Ranger. Cheers, everyone. Well, welcome back. It's time to show you the progress on how things are going with the electrical build in the back of the Ranger, and I'll tell you what, it's going pretty good. I've been working on it all weekend, so a couple of days, and I reckon I've got 80% of what I wanted to do done. I've had a few changes throughout the weekend, mainly for necessity. Like I said earlier there in the video, when I first job was going to be cutting out the board, which I've done. It's all in behind me there. I'll show you that in a minute. But I said I'd lay everything out, get it all sorted out, and then cover it, which I did. But when I put it up in the back of the Ranger, I realised that some of the components I put in weren't going to work where they were for necessity reasons. So I've had to rethink it, come up with a few more ideas, and change a few things around. And that's the beauty of doing this yourself. You can change things around to suit necessity. And while I'm talking about that, I will just touch on in this point of the video, which I didn't speak about earlier, why am I doing this myself? There'll probably be a lot of people out there saying you can buy systems that you can put in behind the back seat of the Rangers, and there is. I did have a look at some of those and they are fantastic. They're basically plug and play. You pull all the covering off the back seats, they're already built, they fit in there, but they do cost a lot of money. I already had all the components that I needed to do this build, and I thought it's all working fine, and for the moment I'm quite happy to lose a tiny little bit of space in the back of the Ranger, and it is minimal, to use the components that I already have, that I already know are working and working fine. It's only a matter of pulling it all apart off one thing and reassembling it in another different format. So that's why I've done it. If you're wondering why I didn't go down a certain way of putting it in behind the back seats like a lot of people do. I think they're a terrific idea. If I didn't have all these components, that's the way I would have went, because I could have ended up with the same outcome but with a different setup, and probably a setup that was a bit more hidden. But I'm quite happy to have all this electrical system in the tray of the car and not behind the back seat anyway, because most of the time we've got a lot of stuff, as in the dogs and other things, sitting in the back of the car, and I didn't really want to have to pull all that out as well if something went wrong or stuff like that. That's my reasoning, that's what I'm going to stick to. But getting back to this build, I just thought I'd get that out of the road, because I'm sure there'll be questions about that. Please leave them down below, tell me whether you think that's a good valid reason or not. But like I said, I've changed a few things around, and because I've changed things around, I'm going to have to upgrade a lot of the cabling and that, especially the heavy duty stuff that was in my other system, because it was all cut to fit in a thing, like I said earlier, what was it, about 400 by 600 high and just under a metre long, and the cables were all made to fit inside that box. Because I'm changing it around a bit in the back of the Ranger, I've got to run the cables at a different length, so I needed longer cables. I have been able to use some of my cables, but I've got about 4 pieces that I've got to replace. And I found a great place in Kingaroy actually, Evolution Solar. I'll put a photo of their company up on the screen there. The guys there were absolutely fantastic. I went up and seen them. I told them I needed some cabling and lugs, and they said, can you bring the vehicle up? We'll measure it all out for you to make sure that we get the right size cabling for the runs that you are putting in your vehicle. And that's something that you want to do, guys. Make sure whatever you're wiring up, you wire it up correctly, because the last thing you want to do is have a cable that is not strong enough to handle large currents. Like I'm hoping to run up to 200 amps out of this system, and the last thing you want is a cable that's going to overheat and have the potential to catch fire. Make sure you use all the correct fuses, all the correct wiring. If you need to go see professional help, do it. Don't do it if you don't think you can. I was lucky enough to have Phil Damiano from Phil's Campering Reviews help me out, but it's one of the things I can stress, that you really need to make sure that you're confident in your cabling, your gear that you're putting together, because I see so many people on Facebook and social media putting up posts on different companies, I'm not going to mention any names, complaining about, oh, I bought this and it broke down, or I bought this and it's making a noise. And I'll tell you what, I reckon 90% of the time you could track it back to people incorrectly wiring something up, not using the right cabling, just not understanding the system enough, and then it's the company's fault. Yes, there is those cases out there where a product fails and you may have to return it. That's why you have warranty. So if that's the one bit of advice I can give you, make sure you do hopefully correct it up or wire it up correctly with the right gear, and seek advice if you think you need to. So there you go there. The other thing that the guys at Evolution Solar in Kingaroy did for me, they actually made up all my cables. I'll show you them in a second, but they crimped all the fittings on for me. They cut the cabling to length, measured it all up, gave me the correct cabling, because I also wanted to replace my old shunt that I had in the older system. I was running the Renogy shunt, and it does come with a display where you can go in and I'll take a photo of it if I can find one and put it up on the screen, but it comes with a display that you can check your battery percentage. You really need to know your battery percentage rather than volts when you're working with lithium batteries, because lithium batteries will hold a higher voltage right to the point where they're nearly flat. If you've got a percentage up there and you know you've got a 230 amp hour lithium battery, it's at 100%. If you get it down to 20%, you know exactly how much you've got left in there. It's 20% with a lithium battery will still show, I reckon, about 13 volts. So with an old AGM, you could judge it off your voltage. You know, you start off at 12.8 volts, and if it got anywhere below 11.8 volts, your battery was flat. and you've probably done damage to it. So that's the difference between AGM and lithium, is lithiums will show their voltage just about to the point where they're nearly flat. So replacing the shunt. So the guys at Evolution Solar, they actually got me ordered in a Victron Smart Bluetooth Shunt for me. It's got an IP water rating of 65, so it's actually waterproof, and I'll be able to download the Victron app once I'll download it first, but once I download it and connect up the battery and it has power, I'll be able to go into the app and set up my particular battery, all the parameters, what size it is, all that sort of thing, so that I know what percentage it is at all times. So I can just go into my phone, look it up, go, yep, there we go, she's at 50%, or it's at 20%, I need to charge it up, you know, get the solar going, plug the 240 in and put some more power into the battery. So not having a display anymore, I've decided not to worry about it. You can get a display for these as well if you want to. Maybe something I might do in the future is just get a display, but if I can connect to it Bluetooth, why not? So let's have a look at the back of the Ranger now. I've talked about all the cables and everything that I've had to replace. So I've got 4 cables I've got to replace. I've got a new shunt. We'll show you how it's all set up, and I'll talk about what I've done and why. Cheers. Oh well, here we go. So in the front there you can see my board that I've put in. There's the carpet there. I've cut it so it fits up into the front of the Ranger there. And on the far right hand side there we've got the Renogy 50 amp DC to DC charger. Next to that I've got my Egon DC hub, which is made by a company in Western Australia and in conjunction with Andrew St. Pierre White. I just noticed there yesterday they've just come out with a new one which is capable of handling 2 batteries and a lot more power. So they are a terrific system. They are absolutely fantastic. Get on to just search Egon DC hub and check them out. Anyone doing a build, and it's made so that anyone can wire up a 12-volt system. So absolutely amazing bit of gear. The biggest thing on my whole build was my Renogy 2000 watt inverter charger. It's a beast of a thing. It weighs about 25 kilos, and but it does a terrific job. There's lots of settings you can change on it, and it's absolutely amazing. Up the top there I've got a fuse that's running over to my cutoff switch over here. So I've got all my power cords coming out of one side, and they run either to my inverter charger or over to the Egon DC hub. Those orange cords are the ones that Evolution Solar made up for me. So they were the 4 cords that I had to get Evolution Solar to do, and you can see they're all heavy duty cabling. That is my cutoff switch, and down below it is the Victron Bluetooth Shunt. So all my negatives on one side, one negative off this side, and that will run down here, which will go to the LiTime battery. Next to that, after the cutoff, I'll just show you there, my power one there. So we've got one power one coming out this side, we've got another fuse there, and that will run to the positive of the LiTime battery. My 240 volt, I've got my 15 amp plug in there, so if I want to charge up the battery from 240 volts outside source, I can plug it in there. And there we have our fuse, which cuts off the power to the power point and also to the system there. I've got one power point on the back here with a double fuse on it so that I can plug up to 2 appliances in there. And down here will be my little remote start for the Renogy system. So I can just reach in here, press that button in, and that will turn on the inverter charger. The little wire there, that is the earth wire, which I'll be hooking up behind that panel there to the frame of the car. You must have these systems earthed as well. So I will be putting that in. So I've still got a tiny little bit more wiring to do. I've got to sort out the Renogy remote start cord there. I've got to run my wiring around, that red wire around to the Egon DC hub so that it'll power up the Bluetooth shunt. and just tidy up a few of the cables and things like that. And that cable there runs up to my Sulphide Go, which will be something that I'll be putting in as well. So that's about it for the moment. I'll get the rest of this wiring and everything done. I've still got to put in some external power stuff, you know, USBs, things like that, which I'll run probably over this side here. But that'll be about it, and I am thinking about putting a board up in front of there with a bit of carpet on it, just to protect that electrical equipment on that side. But it is waterproof in here. The new tub cover has got its own channels which gets rid of all the water and everything, and I siliconed up everywhere where I had to. It was out in the rain the other day, so didn't really get any water in here. But when I was talking about originally, all that power stuff there I had down below the Egon DC hub and everything. It just wasn't viable down there, so I made up another board and put it up just beside the wheel well there, because the wheel well sticks out here and all this is in beside it, so that should be protected down through there, because I'll probably end up putting a fridge here, I think, guys, and that'll be this area here will be taken up with a fridge. So that's my idea. It's not a plan, it's just an idea. So I will get all this wiring done, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the rest. Cheers everyone. Okay, I've got everything wired up. All I've got to do now is charge the battery up. So I'm going to grab that, quickly charge it up. Well, charge it up as long as it takes. I'll go inside, watch a movie or something, and should be done. And then we'll grab it, I'll put it in, and then we'll come back. Okay, just getting the battery all charged up. So hooked up the Anderson plug, which I said is good that they give you Anderson plug connectors. Got the little 14.6 volt 20 amp charger plugged in. We'll let that run till it stops, and the battery should be ready to go. Okay, battery's all charged up now. The light is gone green. It's just on standby mode. I just turned it on and left it running all afternoon, so should be fully charged. Let's get it connected up. Okay everyone, I've got the battery installed, as you've seen, got it charged up. I don't know how long it took. I plugged it in and I went inside and I come back out later on, it was still charging. Because it was only a 20 amp charger, probably took longer than what it normally would. They do recommend at least a 46 amp charger, but that was the one they sent out to me and it done a good job. It went into standby mode, as you've seen, with the green light, and I've got it in the truck. So there we go there. There is my system there. So the LiTime battery, which was provided to me by LiTime, everything else in here I paid for myself years ago. I think there's a couple of $1,000s worth of gear in here, besides the battery itself. Got my Renogy switch there to turn the inverter on and off. Got my 240 volt there, as I said. Got all the wiring in, Egon DC hub. I haven't put the cover back on it yet. There's still a few little things I've got to do, but I'm up to the part where I've got to fire up the system. Now I haven't connected the negative wire just yet. I've got my multimeter there, and this is where I'm going to finish this video, guys. The startup will be in a future video, so if you've sat here however long this video has taken, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed my build. If you've got any questions, queries or comments, please leave them down below. Like I said, I enjoy bringing you these videos. Hopefully it gives you some idea how you could do this yourself. And I gave my reasons earlier on why I've gone with this particular system, so I hope you've watched all the videos and worked all those out. If you've got any comments about that, please leave them down below. I think I'm still going to have heaps of room in the back of this for putting my fridge, throwing my chairs in, a few bags of wood. There's other things I'm going to be doing to upgrading the back of this as well, but stay tuned for my next video where I'll be firing up the 12 volt system, testing out the 240 volt system, plugging a few things in, seeing how it goes, seeing how the Victron Bluetooth shunt works, because the reason I'm going to make that a separate video is I've got to set up the Victron Bluetooth shunt, and I've never done that before, so I'd like to record it so you guys know, and if you want to use a Victron Bluetooth shunt, you'll be able to, especially if you've got a battery that hasn't got Bluetooth connectivity. My old Renogy battery did, and I just used the display that come with it. But stay tuned for the next video, and thank you very much. Stay safe, look after each other, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Let's get into it. I'm excited.